Hi, my name is Sarah, and I'm going to be going over a virtual color analysis I had done. She's a friend of mine, and she gave me permission to share this with you. Let's get started. The first step is collect historical pictures, which helps give some information about someone's coloring over time, as well as validate that what I'm seeing in the analysis is what I'm also can see in the historical pictures, because lighting is so important for virtual analysis, and we want to do like our due diligence to make sure that we have the best possible accuracy at our fingertips by having the full picture. Because say someone takes a picture in poor lighting, or say you're in a gray room. I'm a spring. If I'm in a gray room, I start looking more gray just because of how translucent I am. Some seasons aren't so translucent that they're going to have the same reflectiveness, but for me, if I take a picture in a gray room in low light, I look gray. And historical pictures are a big deal.
Step 2.
I will ask to take a draping picture.
Step 3.
I'm going to start looking at cool versus warm. So my friend here, she has strawberry blonde hair, and at times during the years, sometimes it looks a little bit more blonde, and sometimes it looks a little bit more red, depending on the time of her sun exposure. Trust me, so she does not dye her hair. Historically, when I first met her, she had dyed her hair and went through a little bit of a tanning phase, if she doesn't remember. But then also she was dyeing her hair ash brown, which is wild to me now. But so she dyed her hair ash brown, and then also she was going tanning a little bit. And it was tough for her to get a tan. But not everyone that's in her season has a tough time getting a tan. So that doesn't mean anything, okay? We are going to look at undertones, so cool versus warm, and this has some varying levels of intensity that we're looking at. I'm not showing every single thing on here that I look at, but I'm giving like a little bit of an overview of the steps. Right now I'm looking at the gray and the brown. It also is makeup free. It's also important to report any sort of permanent makeup that you may be wearing. And we're looking at the gray versus brown. First I want to look at the whole page before I start making too many comments, and then I'll go back. So here we have a raspberry versus more of a warm red. I'm seeing something already. Here's pink and the orange. I always find that the outcome of her season, the pink is never too bad because there's white in it. Okay, I don't want to give too much away. I'm trying not to give too much away, so I'm going to keep some of my comments to myself. So here's blue versus green. Okay, so we want to ask ourselves, like, where does she look healthier? And then this purple versus yellow, which I think there's a big difference. There's a big difference in this one for me. So of course, like when I do virtual analysis, I spend a lot of time on these steps. I'm just kind of breezing through for demonstration purposes. I'm seeing that the cool versions are making her go a little bit gray. And it's easier to see her in the warm. Yeah, she's going, so like where does she look healthier to you? Okay. This one's a big one too. And this warm red is a tough one for people if you're not a warm person, but I am definitely seeing that she looks healthier, and like there's a light behind her skin in the warm column, which is the red here, and the cool one causes a little bit of grayness. So for this one, I would say this one's the toughest call, which I find could be related to other dimensions going on, which is that pink looks like it has a little bit, well, how do you get pink, right? It looks like it's a little bit more, it's a lighter pink. Like there's more white in this pink. And then blue versus green. Again, it's almost like a shadow comes over her face. in the blue, where she is just looks like she has like a cast on her, where it's harder to see her skin and her features. I really like this yellow on her. The purple is casting shadows on, you can see it definitely on this one in her under eyes. For this case, I am comfortable that she is a warm season.
Step 4.
But the next step is that we're going to actually look at all the home seasons together. And it's a little bit different than an in-person analysis, where at this point we would just really hone in on if someone is clearly warm, we will just go from looking at autumn and spring right away. Now we're going to look at the seasonal page, and we might get some more clues based on this. So I'm going to start from the top here. Black, gray, brown, and the peach. I'm really going to be focusing on this autumn and spring right here. Here in the rusty red, a little brickish, like a brick red, versus this bright, this hat almost neon pink. I am seeing that she becomes shadowed in the autumn compared to, look how fresh she looks in the spring. This is a very big deal. Like, she looks like she is much healthier and alive and fresh in the spring here. Just for demonstration purposes, we'll also keep going over. So here again, she looks like she's not her healthiest self in the summer. The lightness is nicer than with the deeper one is the winter, which I'm seeing a lot of shadowing here. So this is very bright and cool this winter. The summer is pretty dusty. This orange is a little heavy for her. It's easier to focus on her in the peach. Then she just goes a little ill in the summer, and then the winter pink just doesn't have anything to do with her. And we already had eliminated cool anyway. Yeah, the blue and the greens. The summer blue, dusty, it's like she's falling asleep here. The green is nice on her, I would say. I like both greens on her, but we're looking at which one's the best, right? Because the undertone's right. Where does she look healthier is something that we should be asking ourselves. And it is in the spring green. The light kind of goes off a little bit in the autumn. And the thing about this is, you might think, okay, well, the autumn colors are darker and they have a little bit of gray in them. So of course she's going to look grayer. But the thing is, in autumn can pull this off. Like if someone is in autumn, they can pull this green off and hold up against it and hold their own against it. But she looks so much fresher in the spring green. Same with the yellows. Like, look how the light goes off with the autumn. So fresh in the spring yellow. Amazing on her. Purple, it's very shadowy in the summer. Winter, I like the brightness, but it's just a little too cool for her. Okay, so now I'm going to look at the palettes for the seasons. Winter versus the autumn. I don't always show these if I don't think it's going to be helpful to people. The autumn is nicer, too much shadowing with the winter. Spring versus summer, I mean, look at her in the spring. She's popping in the spring. Coming to life in the spring. The summer is doing nothing for her. So for the summer versus the autumn, they both make her go a little bit shadowed, but I prefer the warm undertone one, autumn. Winter versus spring, I mean, she just comes alive in the spring here. Winter versus summer, I like the lightness of summer and the brightness of winter. Spring versus autumn, this is a bigger one. It's just a little bit more shadowed in the autumn, where you get this gray cast, because autumn has tones and shades, which are colors mixed with gray or the warm colors mixed with black. Where does she look like a turtle dove? Here or here? I need to trademark that. Where does she look like a turtle dove? Just for funsies, I'm going to show you the universal versus some of these. Just for funsies. Okay. So universal versus summer. This is better because it's warmer. So universal is better because it's warmer. Universal versus winter. Universal is better because it's warmer. but I do like the brightness of winter. I'm going to save this baby. I'm going to save this baby for later. Autumn versus universal. Which is better? Because universal's lighter. It's warmer. Should I cut this part? I'm kidding. I need to stop making jokes. Where do I want to see her more? I kind of like the universal better, but I thought that's a sweet little yellows down there by her face. I like the yellow side better on the universal, but I like the white side better because it's not blue. Well, you know what? Honestly, we don't do analysis based on just these palettes. Like, it's really the individual drapes that matter. So please keep that in mind. It's more for demonstration. Even just the flag drapes, they are more for demonstration, and they can be little hints for me, but really it's the individual colors comparisons that matter for the actual analysis. Okay, so spring versus universal. Yes, universal is too soft here and too cool. You can see the shadowing. Turtle dove in the spring. So, and where does she look more like an angel? Spring. I analyzed her. I'll be honest. I'm going to be honest with you. I analyzed her quite a few times throughout my training and after my training, and she's very obviously a spring. But I'm going to do more of these, and I'm going to do some trickier cases.
Step 5.
We can look at the palettes first. I'm not going to comment too much, but here's spring versus warm spring. So she goes grayer in the warm spring. Do you see it? Again with the light, she goes gray. It looks like the light went out because the warmth isn't there, and light is a neutral palette. It's more neutral. It's either neutral. Well, this one's a neutral warm, but the light over here is even cooler because that's a fully neutral palette, and this one's neutral warm. And then this is spring. So if she was neutral warm, I would expect this to be better. I mean, it would be better. Bright. So this is spring. This is bright spring. Do you see there's that grayness that's especially like on her cheeks? There's just like a little bit of a shadow that's cast from the neutrality of the bright palette, because the bright palette is also a neutral warm palette, the bright spring palette, and then here's the bright palette over here, which is even more neutral. So you can even tell the difference between the bright spring and the bright palette, that she goes even grayer in the bright versus the bright spring. Let's look for just the spring tiles. True spring versus warm. I do find that for this one specifically, that springs need contrast, so sometimes this one neutral here can be a little too flesh-like, a little too flesh-toned for springs, but we're going to be just focusing on what it does to the face and not the contrast level here. So she's brightest in the spring versus the warm. The bright just doesn't have anything to do with her as far as the depth goes in that one. I do like the lightness here. She's going to have a warm white in her palette, but still healthier in the true spring. I love this pink on her. I love this pink on her. She's so nice. Please buy this pink. And the warm's not bad by any means, but she's healthier, fresher, brighter, lights on in the true spring. The bright is a little too dark for her because it's flowing into winter and it's more neutral, so I see more graying, even comparing the warm to the bright. The light's nicer. But let's look at them next to each other. Yeah, I like the spring's better. Light, you can see there's a little bit of grayness when I can see both at the same time. So here's some orangish ones, some oranges. So the orange in the true spring palette is more of a cantaloupe orange, or there's peaches. It is not a pumpkin orange. Fresher in true spring. Warm spring's not bad. It's it's right undertone, but there's a little bit more shadowing because of the tones from moving into autumn. And she's a little bit fresher. There's a little bit of grayness that I can see now with the pink in comparison, because we're really looking at the best of the best. I mean, it's a nice color for her, but right now we're just trying to like focus in on what's the best for each step. And here there's a little bit of shadowing just from the neutrality there in the light pink. Grayness in the warm I'm seeing. Grayness in the neutrality of the bright. So healthy, a little washed out in the light here, which is common if you're a true spring, you get a little washed out in the light palette, but there are tints in the spring palette, so you just want to, so you can still, If you're going to do a cool color, do a tint. If you're a true spring, just meaning a color with lots of white in it. Because, we're comparing best to the best right now, but it's still lovely on her. But where's she healthier? Where does she glow? She glows more in the green, even if that's not like everyone's favorite color to wear. It's more just for honing in. And then there's colors beyond just these examples here. So the yellow, I love the yellow on her. I love it. I love the yellow on her. Shadowy in the warm. It's a little overpowering. It's hard for her to be the focus in this one. But when we're just looking at the skin, it's just that grayness that comes in with the neutrality. And same thing here with the light, as we've seen before, where it just washes her out a little bit. Healthier and a turtle dove in the true spring. So she is a true spring.
Here's an example of her wearing an outfit outside of her colors, and it is too cool, dark, and muted for her. And here she is wearing her colors that are light, bright, and warm. She has contrast with a hat, and she has warm colors underneath her. She is fresh-faced, and yeah, she looks amazing in this.
And she had received my report as well. And for her, she had received the deluxe edition, which goes over each step and what I'm seeing, so that if you're someone that needs to understand, the thought processes behind what someone's seeing, then I would be a good person to do your analysis, because I think it's important to share that with the people that are interested. I know some people just want the result, and then that's where I have that basic package available now, but I may be getting rid of the basic one later, just because I do really love sharing the why, because I think it helps with making decisions with shopping later if you understand the why. So I have some open orders that I'm waiting on pictures for that basic one, but I might be getting rid of that if you're watching this video at a later date. Anyway, I hope that's helpful. I hope it was helpful to see a little bit of a walkthrough for a virtual analysis on a warm person. And I have some, what I think is exciting videos that I'm going to be making with other virtuals that I've done. I had a very unusual case that I had a virtual on, and I have permission to share that. So that will be fun if you want to stick along for this. I also have plans to fine-tune my setup for in-person draping, where I can film some people. I might even film my friend here, so you can see how it kind of looks in real life too, and do like a little part 2 of filming her in real life if that works out. But I want to figure out the setup for that, because I'm 5'9", and when I tried filming someone in this room that I'm in now, I looked like my head was basically touching the ceiling. So I don't want that. No, I'm just kidding. It just wasn't a wide enough view, and I need to move. I'm always moving and grooving when I'm doing an in-person analysis, and I have to be bopping here to there, getting this, grabbing that. So that's my goal. My goal is to get some because I mean, truthfully, I like watching it. So I think that people that are interested in color analysis love a real person in-person draping. I think it's so helpful. I think it's so helpful in learning color analysis if you're interested in that. As long as I can get this lighting right for that, I'm going to be doing it in a more neutral room as well. I might still be showing examples in here, in my color analysis office, but yeah. So, and if you happen to be watching this and you're in the Lansdale area, I offer in person, and I right now I'm going to clients. You're not allowed over my house because I have big dogs and they're silly gooses, and I don't want them jumping on someone, because one's a half Saint Bernard, so she's very big, and she's not allowed around my drapes, but she wants to be around my drapes. They both do, but they're not allowed. I'm gonna cut this out.